Hello and hello. Good evening from EAZY-DIGI studio. Yeah, uh, I feel like I'm in a radio station, is it radio studio, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm excited to be here again, and this is the eighth edition of this webinar. Right? We've been doing it for the last 8 weeks. Yeah, last 2 months. That's interesting. Okay, so and then we've been talking about redesigning education in Nigeria for national development, and it's really been an amazing journey. It's really been an amazing journey. Okay, yeah, so let's start by having a meet and greet session. If you're joining from LinkedIn, tell us your name and where you're joining from. Um, Whatever you're joining from, whether you're joining from Nigeria or outside Nigeria. Um, Although this conversation is about Nigeria, but then let's meet you. Tell us about where you're joining from. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, so for me, it's a cool evening from Lagos. How's it going over there? Bam, bam, ba-da-ba-da, bam, bam. All right, so if you join today, we're live on LinkedIn and YouTube. All right, so if you're joining from LinkedIn, tell us your name. Let's meet you. If you're joining from YouTube as well, tell us your name. Let's meet you also. Um, yeah, I'm excited. It's always an honor to host educators across Nigeria and outside Nigeria, in this webinar series, um, where we're okay. It's always an honor for me to host educators where we're having this design session and we're looking at what is possible, what's the way forward, how do we improve our education offering, right? That's majorly why we're here, all right? We In the last 8 weeks, we've been talking about how do we redirect our education offering to address our core challenges as a nation, right? We started looking at a transferable kind of experience, right? And then we that moved to the led I, framework. That's the leadership, entrepreneurship, um, um, digital literacy, and innovation. So we started talking about how to, redesign the education offering, talking about the content and the learning experiences, right? To nurture these skills, right? Because these skills, the led I skills framework, speaks largely to our challenges, our core challenges as a nation: leadership, entrepreneurship, digital literacy, and innovation, right? We started talking about that. We talked about the fact that you know teachers must reimagine their roles and start seeing themselves as learning designers. We talked about that. Um, it's the fourth industrial revolution. Many things are changing. Part of it is that your role as a teacher has to change if you want to break into that realm. Um, but we're talking about high level learning beyond preparing kids for exam. You have to see yourself as a learning designer. We started talking about that. Okay, and then we've looked at a number of things. One of the things we do every time we meet here is to share a lot of resources, right? And today we are also going to be sharing a lot of resources in today's session. Um, you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. Please, repost the event, invite your friends to come join us. It promises to really be an exciting time. We are live. So I'm trying to send some reminders. Okay. All right. All right. We're live. So if you can hear me from LinkedIn, please. Oh, okay. Let me check through my phone. Sometimes it doesn't show up in the studio. Let me check. All right. We're joining from LinkedIn. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're joining us from. If you're joining from YouTube, also tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. Okay, so I see I have 5 participants now. Yeah, please tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. Okay, right. All right, so like I said, I have a lot of things to share with you today. We have some serious issues to look at together, right? So it's a design session, and we are going to be digging deep into this topic again. So today I said we're going to be talking about AI, right? I'm sure you are excited just as I am about today's focus. All right. So still, on the issue of redesigning education in Nigeria for national development, and then we want to be talking about AI and the future of education in Nigeria. AI and the future of education in Nigeria. Um, I've shared a number of links before this meeting, and these links are just a link to many of the resources that we will be drawing up, our discourse from as we go on in today's webinar, right? Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about today um, is it's I put out one of the links I put there talking about India, what India is doing. India is one of the schools globally, alongside countries like UAE and Finland. One of the countries that have integrated design thinking into their mainstream education system, and that happened last year. You know, we need to look at what is possible and draw some inspiration from that. From what is possible. And when I let me try and see if I can share my screen now and show the Indian story. Where's it? Let me try and share my screen. Okay, yeah. So great. So I'm sharing my screen now. Adding a design thinking elective in our education system will hopefully open doors for subjectivity and creativity in our pedagogy, right? It's a small yet significant step for India to be the first country to launch design thinking and innovation courses in schools. However, what, what needs caution is the intention of the Central Education to roll out books from class 7 to 12 while introducing much needed critical thinking electives like design thinking is welcomed in the high school curriculum, right? So this started last year, right? So from their year 7 upwards, they introduced design thinking as a subject, right? Um, that's the crux of the matter, right? Of course, we can now begin to dig deep about what it means and all of that, but it's the move. It's the move. First of all, that's it for me. India has a whooping more than a billion population, I think. You know, and then you can imagine how many kids they have in school. And then if they are talking about this, right? It just brings me back home to Nigeria, and we need to start asking as is possible. All right. Of course, the issue of design thinking is a big deal. But then I also think that it's not just about design thinking alone, it's about other subjects like artificial intelligence, other subjects like cyber security. Right. This should be this part of what we call subjects in our school. Every Nigerian school should be teaching kids about these things. Right. As we think about moving forward, as we think about the Nigerian economy, as we think about growth and national development, it means that the same way we're seeing India bringing in these things into the mainstream education system, right? For the private schools, which might be quite easier, we need to start thinking about also disrupting what we call subjects, right? To close the gap, right? Because there is a knowledge gap, there is a skills gap. Oh, there is a knowledge gap and there is a skills gap. Remember the report I shared last week or thereabout from the African Union Commission, right? How that report was speaking to the skills gap on the African continent, and of course Nigeria largely because Nigeria is the most populated African country. So there's that gap, and if we're going to fill that gap, then it means that we need to disrupt what we call subject, and what happens, what the content in terms of subject that is learners are exposed to. Every Nigerian child is exposed to, right? So I see a future where these are going to become subjects in our schools in Nigeria. Cyber security becomes a subject, artificial intelligence becomes a subject, design thinking becomes a subject, right? And in the cases where yes, become a subject, actually become a subject, right? And a host of other things like that. But these three I think I've mentioned, they are very, very critical, right? As we look at what is possible and what can happen, we are seeing that some countries are making moves, right? They are moving forward. And we also must move forward in Nigeria. I know for the public system, it might be quite hard was, and but I know it can happen. It can happen. But for the private schools, it might just be quite easier. Uh, just one or two meetings across board, and talking about how to integrate and bring that into the system. All right. Okay. So I just thought to share that first of all, again, so we can see what is happening, how countries are innovating and disrupting you know the traditional school, right? If you read that article, know the whole of that article, you will see that a lot of things were actually mentioned, talked about in the article, you know as regards the the leadership in India, their passion. By the way, India, I think this year, launched their first satellites in the space, right? Mm. So India is also one of those forward-thinking countries, right? Most of the businesses, top business brands we have today globally, they are majorly headed by Indians, right? So, just thinking forward, just thinking forward, just thinking forward. What is possible? We know that our kids. In fact, I'm going to look for the link and I'll talk about it later, right? There's something that Google rolled out, like a kind of a list of courses on AI that Google rolled out, right? That every child in secondary school from just seven upward should be exposed to, right? This is very, 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 very important, right? I'm going to look for the link before the session ends today, right? So Google has a learning platform, right? Just like Coursera and the likes, right? So the list of courses that were rolled out, right? So that we don't need to, see, we have come to a time where knowledge is more accessible than ever, right? That's the way it is. I mean, I'm always doing a lot of research and I'm discovering, and I'm like, wow. And that's going to keep on increasing over and over and over time. It's going to become more and more easier to learn. It's going to become more and more easier to learn. It's going to become easier to learn over and over time, over and over and over time. So these things are there, these courses are there, these platforms are there, just that we probably don't know, right? So talking about the integration into our school systems, it's not actually difficult. Actually, it's not difficult, right? So these things are there, right? Then the public domain, open source and free, for our students to latch on. We can guide them and we can have course reviews from week to week, have course reviews where we're talking about what they are learning. And when they are done, they get their badge, right? They get their various badges for going through the course. That's the one I said from Google, right? So I've checked that. I saw it. Very powerful and very insightful. Very simple to go through. So I think for every child, yes, seven upwards, they need to be exposed to those kind of courses. See, these kids need to be able to compete with their contemporaries globally. That's what we're doing. It's about every Nigerian child being able to compete with our contemporaries globally, right? It's about empowering every Nigerian child, right, to add value back to society in return, right? So we'll go any lengths to ensure that the content and learning experience that they are offered, right, is based on global standard, right? We need to ensure that. So I talked about that, and I'm going to look for that link and share it. I actually forgot while I was gathering the links for this session, and share it. Before the webinar runs out today. But then, when you think about AI and the future of education in Nigeria, right? What comes to your mind? I want to hear from you now. Um, I know you've been hearing about this AI thing, right? So, but for you, when you think about AI and education here in Nigeria, and then the future of education in Nigeria, you know, as we talk about the three P's: what is possible, what is preferable, and what is predictable, right? What comes to your mind? What do you think about this whole AI thing and our education here in Nigeria? I'd like to hear from you, please. Yes, I'd like to hear from you. That's how we'll start the conversation for today. Okay, I'm keeping my eyes. I have my eyes on the comment section. I want to hear from you. What do you think about this whole AI thing and our education here in Nigeria? Okay, so I have my eyes on the comment section. I'm looking out for your comment. What do you think about AI and the education system in Nigeria? Or better said, the future of education in Nigeria, right? So 2023 is coming to an end and we're approaching 2024, right? As an educator, right? Or better still, as a learning designer, what do you think about this whole AI thing, right? And your job and what you're doing, right? And the education system generally. I have a lot of things running through my mind, but then I'd like to hear from you first. Okay, who goes first? Okay, yeah, I've got my eyes on the comment section. Okay, so I believe you're typing. Yeah, it's okay. Uh, just take your time and put your thoughts together. I cannot wait to hear from you. Oh, I see. Okay, so while I'm waiting for you to share your thoughts on what you think about AI and the future of education in Nigeria, um, so one of the things that I have discovered, of course, I have two case studies that I want us to look at today. Two schools, from Europe, and then to see what they I've done with AI, and then from that perspective, again, ask ourselves what is possible, right? The recent developments in the world of AI, the emergence of generative artificial intelligence, and more so recently, GPTs and all of those latest developments, right? And what they mean for you, as an educator, right? I've seen quite a number of things around. I've been following the story, and and how it's all evolving, right? So I'm going to look at it from two aspects, right? One, for the teaching and learning, and two, for you as a professional, right? For you as a professional, and then secondly, for the teaching and learning experience, right? There are other aspects to look at too, administration and many other things, right? So we're seeing how AI is changing many things in those areas too as well, right? So like I said, I have two case studies today. I have them in the comment section, right? One is from a school that named AI, um, you know, um, its principal, its principal. The school that named AI is principal, currently using AI as its principal. So AI in leadership, AI in school leadership. You can look at that. Then another school that is using AI, you know, um, to drive learning, right, across the school environment. There's that too. Or is that? Yeah, yeah. Introducing West Mingo, a custom AI learning coach, right? So this is a school that decided to come up with a custom AI learning coach, um, that does the job, that also enhances learning, right? These things are happening. I'm going to open the website pages, and we'll look deeply into them. But let me start by sharing my experience, right? And what I've seen with the recent developments in AI, right? So first of all, the first thing I've seen, right, is the idea um, of the digital twin technology, right? I don't know if you've heard about that before, digital twin, right? So after now, you can do some more research about that, right? So basically, a digital twin is just a digital version of you, right? That can perform and do exactly the things that you will do, right? That's a digital twin, right? So one of the latest advancements in the world of technology today is this thing about digital twin technology and all of that, right? So the thing is that it's now possible for you to have a digital twin, right? Sort of in the form of what's it called, of a chatbot, right? Of a chatbot, right? That will be able to respond and interact with your learners everywhere. So just imagine that you have a chat GPT that is you, right? So just imagine that you have a chat GPT that is you, everything about you as a teacher, either as a math teacher or English teacher, or as a science teacher. You have that kind of chat GPT that your learners can interact with anywhere, anytime, and any day, right? So you see an emergence of mobile and highly personalized learning, right? So some about a few months ago, I built some I built some bots, right? One of them I named it BioGPT. Oh, can I share it on my screen? I named it BioGPT, right? So I started training that bot, and then and basically the whole experience and process about building a personal bot that serves like a digital twin for you, for whatever subject you're teaching, that your students can interact with anywhere and any day. It's not difficult. That's the good news. I mean, it's not difficult, right? It's not difficult. It's what you can learn in less than an hour. Just if you meet a good trainer like me, it's what you can learn within an hour, and you're just fine. You know, so it's not complex. And then so I've seen that possibility, right? That possibility of you being a learning designer, having a digital twin, right, that can take care of those basic side of introducing concepts to kids, topics and those things, explanations and everything, and all of that. So explanation, you can have a digital twin that can achieve that. A very powerful bot. And recently, with the updates from OpenAI, right, talking about GPTs, right, that is now being launched, right. So and also what has happened before then. One thing is very clear today, right? As a learning designer, you can build your own bot. You can have a bot for every subject, right? So that sounds now like bot-based learning. When we start using the base, that sounds like bot-based learning. So you can have a bot for chemistry, right? You can have a bot for chemistry. You can have a bot for um, so you might want to ask, but then there's ChatGPT there. So why do I need to? Now the thing is, ChatGPT might be biased sometimes, right? That's one of the issues with ChatGPT. But when you build your own personal bot, again, which is not difficult, right? You are able to streamline, right? You're able to customize, right? So because the things you're going to be feeding your bot with, the information, the resources, the knowledge base, is strictly going to be in line, right, with what they are doing with you, right? So as far as everything they are learning with you is concerned, you know, any question that they might have is can be answered and taken care of by that bot, right? Now that's something that I have personally discovered, right? I didn't just discover it, I didn't just read about it, I experimented it, I saw it work, right? And then, one thing is very certain, right? We can all be botified, right? We can all now have a digital twin, right? That does so. As you think about your job, right, as a teacher, I've said it before. You are going beyond a teacher, right? What AI is doing today is that AI is upgrading everything. So even for you as a teacher, now you are being upgraded, right? You're being upgraded. Okay, so like I said, I'd like to hear from you. Please share your thoughts. Let me know what you think about what we're saying right here. But then, first of all, I'm sharing my experience with AI and what I think AI is doing today and can do. Right. So I said I see an era of mobile and highly personalized learning. That's one thing I see. Right. Even here in Nigeria, we can have that era of a mobile and highly personalized learning. Right. Across our various schools. Right. So our leaders, government, the Ministry of Education in Nigeria can invest in this thing, right? And then it becomes something that can be used across the entire public school system, right? So I'm seeing that as a very big advantage. And that will also reduce largely the divide. That can help in reducing the divide we have today in our education landscape, right? Because every Nigerian child, right, mostly within the public school system, right, are going to have access to the same quality of information and learning. So they can learn anywhere, anytime. Again, I am seeing an emergence of an hybrid kind of learning in the Nigerian domain, right? Because it's going to be easy for learning to happen anywhere, anytime. And so for us here in Nigeria, right, one thing that can happen is that we can begin to gradually reduce that divide. We can begin to gradually reduce that divide. I'm telling you, if your students in your classrooms can learn anywhere, anytime, any day, right, you're going to help them to start building their lifelong learning, right, capacity. They're going to become more self-directed in their learning. Why? Because the learning is not tied to you anymore, right? Because the learning can now happen without you. So when your kids are studying, when your students are studying at home, and then they get stuck somewhere and they have a question, what do they do? They cannot reach you. They can't reach you. But when you have a digital twin, like a chatbot, as I mentioned earlier, right? All they need to know to do is just enter the question. Oh, sorry, Mr. Bayo, I just got stuck with this question. I need help with doing this, and then they get a quick response, and they are fine, and they are moving forward. So again, we can have some sort of acceleration, right? So the learning does not depend on the school. The learning is not school driven. It's not school paced because school has a way of reducing the pace, right? Because the core learning only happens when the kids are in the physical classroom. We're talking about possibilities here. What is possible, right? We're talking about what is predictable and what is preferable, right? I think that in our Nigerian context, right, this issue of chatbot, and this issue of bot-based learning is something that we will embrace. I think that we have the capacity to embrace it. I do not think it's somewhat difficult, right? I do not think it's difficult. We can embrace it. It won't solve all the problems in the education landscape, but then it's going to reduce the divide too as well. And then I think that for teachers, as per upgrade, is going to redefine how you do your job, right? So now what we are seeing again is that what is going to happen is that for teachers, your skill set, you're going to have to add AI literacy to your skill set. That's it. So as we think about the future, and as we think about upgrading the quality of education in our landscape in Nigeria, um, one thing that's become part of the skill set that we're adding for teachers is AI literacy. AI literacy. Let me know what you think about what I'm saying here. Oh, I haven't heard from anyone, and I'm not happy about that. I feel like I'm alone here. Yeah, I see I have five people here. Okay, and even more than five most times. LinkedIn doesn't give that correct figure most of the time. Okay, so let me know what you think about what I'm saying here, this conversation. So bring this to your context and think about this whole thing and what it means for what do you think is possible? Are you seeing this happening in your environment? How easy do you think it might be? Or how difficult do you think it might be? Um, I'd like to hear from you. Please share your thoughts. Right? Please share your thoughts. And so I said two things. One, teaching and learning, and two, professionally for you as an educator, what it means. So I started by addressing the issue of how AI is going to alter teaching and learning. We've talked about that. And I'm also trying to look at alongside what AI means to you professionally, right? Um, there's a link, there's a document I shared in one of the sessions from the CEO of LinkedIn, and it was talking about redefining work. That document is very important. It's in the chat section. Right? It's there. Where is it? Yeah, it's in the comment section. I dropped that link today. Right, you need to go through that link. It's very very important. And he started talking about one the things that they have learned at LinkedIn for the past few months. You know, how that the kind of jobs. Now we have a lot of jobs that are attached to AI and all of that. And then one of the major things he said is the fact that every job is a combination of tasks, right? He was talking about the skills first mindset, which I believe strongly. I've heard the World Economic Forum speak about that too as well, and OECD and many other organizations talking about skills first. Now, he was talking about the fact that every job is a combination of various tasks, right? And now you now need to, because as you future proof yourself and as you ask yourself, how is my role evolving in this AI era? Because, like I said, AI is changing the world of work, right? AI is changing the world of work, right? So every job is a combination of various tasks. So ask yourself, right? Create a list, right? What are the things I do daily as a teacher? What are the things I do daily as a teacher, right? What are the things I do daily as a teacher? What are the tasks I get on daily as a teacher? And that's the first question. Question number two is that what are the things I do daily that AI can do for me, right? So this is even where the question starts from. That's the first one. What can AI do for me? What is that task I do that right now AI can literally take it on and do it for me perfectly, right? And that's number one. And number two is, okay, what are the things that I need to do in partnership with? What are the things that AI can do with me and not for me now, right? What are those tasks that requires partnership between me and AI? So kind of a sort of a joint responsibility, right? That's number two. And number three is, what are the things that are exclusive to me that I need to just do myself, right? That I can't give to AI, right? Of course, things that involves collaboration, people skills, working with your learners, and I'm trying to connect with them, to understand them where they are and all of that. There are things that you have to do. You have to exclude AI, right? You know, a number of things AI can do for you. Them. What do we see teachers doing with AI today? I see a lot of teachers today that are generating content for their classes. They just type, "I need a note on this prep," and they just get amazing content and all of that, right? But then beyond getting the content, the response that AI gives you can be fine-tuned. And I think that at this point, we should not totally leave that aspect just to AI, right? We shouldn't totally leave that aspect to AI, even now, right? So that we can have, because content is very important, right? In the context of learning, right? So that you have, as we talk about the Nigerian context, right? So for example, AI tools like ChatGPT, right, might be a bit biased, might speak more to the global north and not to the global south, right? So context like, so that's why when you are using the AI tools like ChatGPT, right, to generate content for the stuff you are doing, you still want to, you know, check the results and be sure that what you are given, right? Most of the time, you still have to edit and see how some things, right? So that it's very, contextualized and addresses what you want to achieve in your classroom, right? So, what can AI do for you? What can AI do with you? And what can you do? What do you have to do exclusively, right? There are many things teachers are doing today that they do not need to do anymore, right? And the truth is that AI can think for you. Yeah, there are certain thinkings that AI can do for you. I remember there was a day I wanted to write a research proposal. I wanted to write that and and submit to a school the research proposal, and then it would take me some time to sit down and begin to ideate and pick up ideas and all of that, and then I just use this particular AI tool, and then I just explain to it what I want, and in less than a minute I got what I wanted. I just had to tweak it a little, and so in less than 30 minutes I had just what I wanted, right? So it's so much life saving, right? People in other industries are speaking largely about how AI is helping them. I cannot, if you, there are so many amazing AI tools we have today that are doing a lot of magic, a lot and a whole lot of magic, right? Today, because of time, we won't go deep into those kind of things. So let's focus on education as our context, right? So in the same way, there are so many magic that AI can do for us to do in education, right? And whether you are a school administrator, whether you are a school director, whether you are, I talked about AI in leadership. We saw it, right? We saw that school. Let me share the link is here. It's in the comment section. Let me try and share my link and show that school so you can see what I'm talking about. So AI in school leadership, there's something there. Okay, so look at this. A $35,000 a year boarding school named AI Bot. Its principal-led teacher. The headmaster says it's helping. Can you see that? In fact, some weeks ago, we had one of the head teachers from this school in this session, right? And he promised to join us one of these days to come and share his experience. And I'm trying to get him, and I should be able to get him one of our conversations to come and share practically what our experience looks like, how this is happening. But then going through the story and everything shows that, again, AI in school leadership is helping a lot, right? So there are many things that school leaders, do not need to bother about, as regarding what they do and how they do it, right? So many things, right? So again, you want to go through this kind of article. It's in the comment section, actually. Um, I don't want to bore you with that. You can find in the comment section. You can go through it, even after now. Um, yes, 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 yes. We're talking about AI and the future of education in Nigeria. Please feel free to share your thoughts as we go through this conversation. I really need to hear from you. What do you think about this? I want to be sure that I'm not alone. What do you think about this whole thing? Hmm. Uh, bum, bum, bum. Um, 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 okay. Yeah. So I think that for every teacher as a professional, these are questions you want to ask yourself. Right. We talked about how to bring AI into our curriculum. Um, there are a number of ways to make that happen. Right. One of the easiest ways to make that happen, I mentioned at the beginning, there's a learning path um, created by Google that our secondary school students should be exposed to from year seven upwards. They need to be exposed to that learning part, and it's just going to help them understand the whole world of AI, basically what it means, right? So that's very important. Um, and then aside from bringing AI into our curriculum, so we're looking at a number of things today. We started from bringing AI into our curriculum as a subject, right? And then we started from how AI is going to influence teaching and learning, right? And then thirdly, we're looking at how AI, affects, um, the professionals within the school environment, starting with the school leaders, to the educators, right? Those are just like three things we're looking at today, right? Um, how bringing AI into our curriculum. Number two, how AI disrupts teaching and learning. And number three, how AI changes how we work as professionals in the school environment, right? Um, so again, tell me about what you think about this conversation, right? I really love that write up by the CEO of LinkedIn. You know, talking about thinking about those things. What can AI do for me? What do I have to do with AI? And what do I have to do by myself without involving AI? Right? We need to ask ourselves that question. We need to have that conversation, right? The education community in Nigeria, right? As fellow learning designers, like I said, I don't like to call you teachers. I like to call you learning designers, right? So that's the thinking, right? What as you prepare, I know schools are wrapping up right now. You're getting set for the next term, right? I think we've come to a time where teaching should now become a stress-free profession, right? Because of the level of technological advancement. Teaching, we're now in the age of sweatless teaching. We're now in the age of stress-free teaching, right? Teachers, you need to have this conversation with your school leaders at of schools. We need to talk about how, because so that teachers can be happy. I think most of teachers in Nigeria are not happy. There's a lot of stress on the teaching job and all of that, right? So we're asking ourselves that question: what can AI do for me? What do I have to do with AI? And what do I have to do exclusively without AI? Right? Your job is a combination of various tasks. Highlight everything you do every day and break those tasks into those three categories. Right? There are some of those tasks you do daily that AI can take on for you perfectly, right? And there are some of those tasks that you have to do with AI, and there are some of those tasks that you need to do alone without involving AI, right? Because AI will forever remain a tool in our hands, right? It's just a tool. The best of AI will remain a tool, a tool in our hands. So as a teacher, right, AI become, and that's why I talked about AI literacy. It's very important. Now we're talking about that. Now the whole world is talking about the AI workforce, right? That's the conversation, right? In the world of work, it's the AI workforce, right? So now we're talking about AI literacy and these things, right? So this is very important to you as we think about the future of our nation, Nigeria. As we think about national development, right? As we think about redesigning our education offering to translate to national development, right? We need to bring in AI into this conversation. So this morning, in my mail, I saw that Nigeria, alongside where is it? Let me share my screen. You need to see this. Um, yeah, I'm going to show you this. Um, it's one of the latest news. Okay, so you see, U.S., Britain, other countries, including Nigeria, right? In fact, Nigeria is the only African country that actually joined that agreement to make AI secure by design. So, of course, the new Minister for Communication, Information Technology, and Innovation, right, Dr. Bosun Tijani, has been very heavy on AI. He has been very, very heavy on AI. So, Nigeria making a move towards not being left behind is highly commendable. That just tells you again that Nigeria is preparing for the post AI era, right? So yeah, so there was an agreement that was signed to make AI secure by design. A lot of countries were involved, including Nigeria, right? So the United States, Britain, and more than a dozen other countries on Sunday, so Sunday, day before yesterday, unveiled what a senior US official described as the first detailed international agreement on how to keep artificial intelligence safe from rogue actors, pushing for companies to create AI systems that are secure by design. In a 20-page document unveiled Sunday, the 18 countries agreed that companies designing and using AI need to develop and deploy it in a way that keeps customers and the wider public safe from misuse. Right? So the agreement is non-binding and carries mostly general recommendations such as monitoring AI, system for abuse, protecting data from tampering, and vetting software suppliers. Right? Yeah, it goes on and on. Right? So you can go through it. It's in the comment section. The link is in the comment section as well. Right? So that's a big movement in Nigeria, and that tells you that hey, we all need to be very interested in this. All right, so we're preparing our kids today for that kind of future. How are we raising today's kids in the classroom to drive that AI development even in Nigeria? Right, something to think about. Okay, so yeah. So thinking about this is very crucial. Thinking about this is a big deal. It's a big deal. Um, what can AI do for me? What can I do? And can what do I need to take on exclusively? Right? That's the big question. Okay, so as we are getting set to wrap up for today, um, for those that might join late, a quick review of our conversation today. We we decided to start looking at AI today, right? AI and the future of education in Nigeria. I started by talking about the fact that India as a country last year introduced design thinking into their mainstream education system, and that's a big step. And that for us here at Nigeria too, we need to ask ourselves, all right, what are the things we need to bring into our system, all right? And so I mentioned a number of things, right? This is not just about design thinking, right? There are contemporary issues like artificial intelligence, like cybersecurity that need to become subject in our mainstream education system, right? So AI becoming a subject, cybersecurity becoming a subject in our mainstream education system. Every private school, every public school in Nigeria, kids from year seven need to start learning about AI. You need to start learning about cybersecurity. You need to start learning about design thinking. It's so important. It's so important. So we're gonna have kids, Nigerian kids that can compete, that can collaborate with their contemporaries anywhere in the world. It's very important. We cannot afford to be backward anymore, right? There's a knowledge gap, there's a skills gap that needs to be filled up. It's so important, and this is practically how we will start filling in that gap, right? This is practically how we start closing that gap, right? By reinventing, right? By reimagining and disrupting what we call subject, right? We can no longer be doing just the maths, English, science, and those things alone. No, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. If we're going to evolve as a continent, we have to disrupt our education offering. Content and learning experiences have to be disrupted. And one of the ways we can disrupt our content is by bringing in this subject, right? So we have to start thinking more in terms of courses and not just subject, right? It's very important. It's very important, right? AI, design thinking, digital literacy, cyber security, they have to become subject that our students are often alongside, right? No, so that's why I cited that move by India. So we talked about that, and then the next question was, we looked at three main parts. So looking at AI and our education in Nigeria. Number one, we looked at bringing AI into the curriculum. Talked about that. Number two is how AI would disrupt teaching and learning. Right. We looked at some case studies. Right. The link to the case studies are in the comment section. Um, yeah, thank you, Mary. I saw your comment. You're very correct. AI is setting off a transformation in education, and it's only just the beginning. Absolutely, Mary. Absolutely. Thanks for engaging. So how is AI going to disrupt teaching and learning? Yeah. So I shared my personal experience. I talked about the fact that as a teacher, as a learning designer, which I like to call you, you can have a digital twin, right? And that stems from digital twin technology. That's one of the latest trends in the world of tech development. Digital twin, right? So it's just a digital version of a whether of a physical object, of a person, or of a process. A digital version, right? So as a teacher, you can have a digital twin, right? That your learners can engage anywhere. And I said that, as we think about the future, learning can become mobile and highly personalized, right? So your students can learn anywhere, anytime, any day, because you have a digital twin that is a chatbot that they can engage, right? But of course, building that requires quite a lot of training. It's not difficult, but requires quite a lot of commitment. If you can successfully train a chatbot as your digital twin, right, you have entered into a world of rest, as a teacher, right? So whenever your learners have any question, anytime, anywhere, any day, right, they can engage your digital twin, which is a chatbot, and they are going to get an accurate response, right? And you can keep leveraging on feedback to understand how your digital twin is performing. How does that sound? To keep checking how your digital twin is performing and all of that, and you can keep fine tuning and updating the knowledge base you are feeding your chatbot with, and that is highly possible. That's very possible. As you look at what is possible, what is predictable, and what is preferable, right? That is very possible. It's preferable and is very much predictable as well, right? So, we're seeing that in the next decade, this is going to become like a norm in Africa, right? So give it 7 years, it's going to become a norm in Africa, right? You write it down, right? You write it down. It's going to become a norm in Africa. We're going to have a lot of digital twins, teachers embracing digital twin technology and having chatbots and learning becoming more mobile and highly personalized. We're going to have a whole lot of that, right? And I saw, if you use Khan Academy launched an AI, a chatbot. I think they call it Camingo or something. Camingo, I can't remember. But that's exactly what we're talking about, right? And you saw the school that came up with their own AI learning coach, Westmingo. Oh my. So that's a possibility. That's a reality. And like I said, if the public system of education in Nigeria invest in that, it's going to help in reducing the divide, right? It's going to help in reducing the divide to a large extent, right? And I see that happening very soon. I really see that happening very, very soon. Um, and then we talked about how AI can disrupt your profession. So you as a profession, and because AI is redefining work, the world of work is evolving. The world of work is evolving. AI is changing how we work. AI is changing how we work, right? So now teaching can become a very, very stress-free job. That's it. That's it. So we see that teaching can become really a very, very stress-free job today. That's another thing we see. Teaching can become so much stress-free, right? So much stress-free. If you invest in AI literacy, you will see that teaching can really become so much stress-free for you, right? And that's the truth. That's the big, 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 big truth, right? So as you think about 2024, as you think about your profession, as you think about your mental health, right? Because teacher, how I wish there's a data that can show us teachers and their mental health in Nigeria. But we don't have many of this important data in Nigeria. So sad, right? How many teachers are willing to stay in the teaching profession? We don't have those kind of. How many teachers have left the teaching profession in the last 1 year thereabout? We don't have that kind of data here in Nigeria. I remember going through a data for the United States, and I saw that about 200,000 teachers might leave school by 2025. About 200,000 teachers. That's crazy. Um, so if only we can see those kind of data for Nigeria too as well, you know. So the stress that teachers complain about and all of that, their mental health, AI can help in this regard. Technology can help in this regard, and the teaching profession can become interesting. So we can break into more of higher order thinking. We can break into more of higher order learning. We can break into more of authentic learning. Why? Because the basic traditional things have been taken care of by technology, right? So we can have more time to do more brainstorming, more collaborating as humans, right? We can have more time to do what humans should do together, right? Yeah. So, one thing AI did again is that AI has redefined what we call tasks. Before now, there were some tasks that were referred to as technical tasks, things that were very technical, like they are technical, you can't do it. All of a sudden, AI has made those things that used to be high level tasks, it has kind of degraded and demoted them to low level tasks, right? So today you can easily do some things. You can easily do some designs. You can easily generate codes. All those things that used to be very technical. Within a minute, you have it done. You have it done, right? Those in the tech world are really enjoying this a lot, right? So in the education sector, we need to jump on this strongly, right? So the things we used to term as they are no longer technical. AI has degraded them, right? They are now less or almost not technical, right? And they can happen easily. So what we see from various reports is the fact that it said that we can now become more human, right? We can now begin to do the things we love to do, right? Because AI is helping us to reduce the stress. It's helping us to be more healthy mentally, so we can now become more creative as humans, right? And I'm really excited about that. It's really exciting, right? That we can become most creative, right? Because of what AI has, because of what AI has to offer us, right? I am looking forward to what you create and to what you do. Of course, at EAZY-DIGI, we're going to be doing some trainings, some deep dive trainings, and all of that. Please look out for it. We're going to be running some courses. Please look out for it. But we are very, very keen. I'm very, very passionate about ensuring that the Nigerian education system is ready to drive the kind of Nigeria that we desire to see, the new Nigeria that we desire to see. We want the millions of kids in our schools today to be so equipped, right, to become agents, right, to be so empowered, such that they are adding value to their society. And that is how transformation begins to happen. It translates to national development. It starts from our society, right? It starts right from our society, right? It starts from our society. That's what we're talking about: redesigning education in Nigeria for national development. For national development. So we're talking about national development. It starts from our society, right? Our kids have to be, empowered to go from students to agents, and as they become agents, they are seeing their community as their classroom. They are seeing their community as a place to test what they have learned, right? So the test of learning will be social impact, will be community impact, not just grades on paper. That's what we're saying. That's the kind of education we want to see. That's what we've been talking about for the last 8 months. So today we started the conversation on AI, and I think that we should continue this conversation even next week, right? I think that we should continue that even next week. So we are going to be wrapping up and shutting down for today. I hope that this has inspired you. I hope that this has added some value to you. I'd like to hear from you again in the comment section. As we're preparing to shut down in today's session, I hope that you've been inspired. I hope that some value has been added to you. I hope that you are getting set for something new, for something new, right? For something new. All right. Okay. So please feel free. The links to all the documents that were shared earlier, they are in the comment section. Please feel free to jump on those links and go through those content and see what they're saying and be inspired. All right. So I look forward to seeing you again next week in the next edition, even as we talk about redesigning education in Nigeria for national development. Thanks for joining today's session. Thanks everyone that has joined. Thanks Mary and everyone also that has joined in today's session. It was so nice to have you around.